The marching band departs, and the Seahawks and Broncos prepare to play the final 30 minutes of football, deadlocked at 10 apiece. The Broncos jumped out in front 3-0 on a 30-yard field goal by Fred Steinfort. Then Jim Zorn directed a 78-yard drive for Seattle, which ended when Dennis Boyd, an offensive lineman, lined up as a tight end eligible on the play on the right side and caught a short touchdown pass from Zorn, and it became 7-3. Efren Herrera then drilled a field goal from 43 yards out, and it was 10-3. Inside 2 minutes to play in the first half, the Broncos came back, and with the aid of the pass which Jim Turner and I discussed during the halftime break, the Haven Moses tiptoe along the sidelines, which might have been more out than in, that got them a first down at the 11-yard line, and ultimately they went in for the score with Riley Odoms, the tight end, making the touchdown catch. And after the boot by Steinfort, the ball game was tied up at 10 apiece. That's where we stand with 30 minutes to play. What do you think?
Bob, it's interesting that the Broncos didn't catch that Dennis Boyd was in the game, because he has to check in. He has to tell the officials, I'm out of position. My number is a non-receiving number. And then the official would turn around and tell the Broncos that. It's not surprising that the play works, because it works all the time. It's surprising that he was so open. There's a good shot of Coach Dan Reeves in his first year with the Broncos.
Let's take a look at some of the first half statistics.
Oh, you got the Broncos leading in first downs, in rushing, the passing yardage with the Broncos with 122 yards. I wasn't aware of that. Total yards 176 to 144 with the Seahawks. The time of possession is interesting because Zorn is controlling the clock.
Last week against Cincinnati, they had the ball for only 19 minutes as against 41 for the Bengals. And conversely, the Broncos were able to control a huge chunk of the clock against the Raiders. But in this ball game, as the score 10-10 indicates, the time of possession is also virtually equal.
You can score in 1 second. Sometimes it takes you a 12-play drive. In that game against the Bengals last week, Pete Johnson, the fullback, just literally tore up the Seahawk defense, and they controlled the clock.
Hey, let's take a walk down memory lane. You know, we were talking about Efren Herrera and how he's likely to do anything out of place-kicking formation, but you remember a play about 3-4 years ago in Oakland back in 1977? Let's take a look at it.
Who is that masked man? I want you to notice right now the fine job that the NBC technicians did on this to slow it down so everybody could see that fella there in his high tops catching this ball. One of the great calls that the Broncos special teams coach Marv Braden did in 1977 against the Raiders.
One of the few times that a place kicker has ever caught a pass out of a formation like that, and the only time that it has ever worked for a touchdown. The only time.
The only time in the history of football that was completed for a touchdown.
Denver kicks off to Seattle as the third quarter begins. Gregory Johnson fields it near the 5-yard line. Johnson is belted as he crosses the 25. Larry Canada, one of the Bronco running backs, playing on the special teams, makes the tackle. There's Canada, number 35. The ball is at the 27-yard line as the Seahawks go on the attack. Zorn to Largent connected only one time in the first half, and we had talked about the matchup between Louis Wright and Steve Largent, Jim.
Well, the game isn't over yet, Bob.
Largent comes wide to the left. Sam McCullum, the veteran from Montana State, is wide right. There's the tight end John Sawyer lining up on the left side. The backs in the eye, Jodat and Smith. They fake a give to Smith, and off play action, Zorn drills one over the middle. There's Largent with the catch, the 300th catch of his NFL career. First down Seahawks at the Seattle 45.
It's quite a milestone, 300 catches in a young man's career. Perfect pass by Zorn. It wasn't going to be intercepted. It was down and low. A very simple pattern by Largent. A straight drop back. He just runs down about 15, 20 yards and down over the middle. Zorn laid the ball down. You notice that Largent had to fall down and catch it. This one wasn't going to be picked off. And then Kyle stops him for the tackle.
This time Largent goes to the right side. McCullum to the left. Jodat and Smith remain as the running backs. Jodat didn't see very much action in the first half. There's a quick fake to him. Zorn now scrambling with Boyd in pursuit. And Zorn gets the pass away. Jodat makes the catch for a gain of 4 yards. Sherman Smith threw a decent block back there to help Zorn avoid being sacked.
We'll see it again. Big number 77 put it on his rush. Watch him come back. Greg Boyd flushed him out. There's very good block. It almost looks like a clip, but not in the backfield, and a very nice catch. It is not a clip in the backfield.
Let's give him a gain of only 3 on the play. 2nd down and 7 from the 48-yard line of Seattle. Clock moving inside 13 and a half minutes to play in the 3rd quarter. We are tied at 10 apiece. Jodat and Smith lined up in the I. Check it, that's Eric Lane, not Sherman Smith. Eric Lane, the rookie from Brigham Young, who carries into Bronco territory. They're still going to be short of the 1st down. 3rd down coming up. They got 5 on the play. Let's call it 3rd and 2.
The Seahawks PR man, Don Anderson, told us that Coach Patera is very high on Eric Lane. With a few games, they feel he's going to get a lot of playing time.
McCullum is the lone wide receiver. He comes out to the left side. 3 backs in the tight formation. 3rd down and 2. Now Largent shifts out of the backfield and comes out wide. They give it to Jodat. He gets the 1st down. Jim Jodat, loose football. Who's got it? Evidently the Seahawks do, and they have their 1st down.
Jodat fumbled the ball twice last week in their loss.
They lined Largent up in the backfield that time.
Eric Lane recovered that ball. Well, we see a lot of now wide receivers, tight ends coming into the backfield, I formation, motion. We see a lot of that throughout the entire NFL.
David Hughes, number 46, and Sherman Smith, number 47, are the backs in now from the 44-yard line of Denver. Seahawks trying to snap a 10-all tie. 11 minutes and 45 seconds to play. Largent will be in the slot to the right, and McCullum is wide to the right. There goes Sherman Smith in motion. Zorn, another play fake. Toss to the sideline. Largent makes the catch, and then he's collared and brought down at the 40. Bill Thompson with the tackle, the strong safety.
Teams today are using more and more motion slot back just to try to confuse the deep backs and the linebackers. And we saw the man go into motion then, and Zorn threw to the opposite side.
Seattle got 21 points in the 1st quarter at Cincinnati last week, and then the offense went kaput. They watched that 21-point lead evaporate into a heartbreaking 27-21 defeat. Here they enter the 2nd half tied at 10 with the Broncos. A week ago, were 9-7 winners over the Raiders. David Hughes carries and lunges to the 36-yard line for a gain of 3 on the play, so we've got 3rd down and 2 coming up.
Denver has moved to its 4-3 defense when big number 77 Greg Boyd comes into the game, and their inside strong linebacker Larry Evans leads the game. Don Latimer's coming in now for Greg Boyd. Latimer was a number 1 draft choice several years ago, has never lived up to the potential that they want him to be, but he is a productive fellow.
Seahawks with some improvement here in their ground game over a week ago against the Bengals.
Well, their offensive line was totally torn up this week by the Seattle press.
Paul Johns, number 85, is in, and he splits out wide to the left in a 3-wide receiver attack. McCullum and Largent both on the right side. Zorn sprinting out and throwing on the run. The catch is made, and this is a 1st down. Steve Largent gathers it in. They got 6 on the play. They needed 2.
Jimmy shows his great ability. They have the moving pocket for him. He sprints straight out, picks his receiver, which is usually number 80, Largent. This offense is made for Jim Zorn.
We saw Paul Johns in briefly on that last play. Tulsa and Montana State have provided the entire receiving corps for the Seahawks. Sam McCullum and his backup, Mark McGrath, both from Montana State, and Paul Johns and Steve Largent, each from Tulsa. Zorn unofficially has thrown for 142 yards. He came into the game needing 222 to reach 15,000 for his career. 1st and 10 from the Broncos 30. Almost intercepted. Bill Thompson had some ideas and some clear sailing right in front of him.
He'll have some bad dreams about that one tonight. BT could have taken that one back 80 yards. Very fine coverage by the 13-year veteran of the Denver Broncos. In the past, he's been the defensive captain. Look at this. He cuts underneath, drives on the ball. It would have been a 6-pointer, Billy. Your point about Tulsa and Montana State, remember now that Tulsa is the old school of Jerry Rome, the offensive coordinator of the Seattle Seahawks.
Jim Zorn, a week ago in the loss to Seattle, completed 21 of 41 for 230 yards and 1 touchdown. A year ago, for the full season, 57%, 17 for scores, 20 of them picked off. Another passing situation, 2nd and 10 from the 30. 9:13 to play, 3rd quarter. Zorn in trouble, scrambles out of it, looking, tucks it in, takes off, 25-yard line, and wisely out of bounds after a gain of 5. Greg Boyd at 6'6" and 280 was terrorizing him before he got out.
Greg Boyd won the weights and the percentages last year in the Denver Bronco testing and training camp. Look at Zorn. He's no dummy. He's not going to get hit. He went to school. You can't hit a quarterback. Look at this. Boyd almost got him. Pretty agile man for 6'6", 275, 280.
When you say he won the weights and percentages, explain that.
Well, it's the testing program that most all football teams go through. He actually pumped 275 pounds 37 times. Ooh.
In motion, Sherman Smith on the 3rd down play, and Zorn is belted and sacked. Looks like Gradishar coming in from the inside linebacker spot, and what a big play that is, because not only did they not get the 1st down, but this becomes a very long field goal for Herrera should they elect to try it.
Rulon Jones and Greg Boyd tied up the offensive line. A delayed blitz by Gradishar. He's able to get in and knock Zorn down for the loss.
Efren Herrera, 20 of 31 on his field goal tries in 1980, checks into the game. The line of scrimmage is the 33, 4th and 13.
It'll be 50 plus, Bob.
Zorn is going to kneel just beyond the 40, so we'll call it a 51-yard attempt. Be alert for the fake, with either Zorn or Herrera doing the honors. And here is the fake. Zorn throws. He's got his hand. He's kicked a little bit. They got the 1st down. David Peters made the catch. Zorn's going to stand up and hit Hughes, and I think you'll see here, Jim, that if Hughes didn't stumble just a bit, he might have gone all the way.
I think you're right, Bob. We've talked about it before, and that's the one thing I love about Jack Patera and his offensive thinking. He'll punt from field goal, he'll throw to it. Zorn made a good choice there not throwing to Herrera because he's not going to beat anybody.
A gain of 20, and the Kingdome is jumping.
They're so versatile. I love their offense.
Down to the 12-yard line. 7 minutes and 40 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter, and Zorn asks for quiet. Largent to the right and McCullum to the left. Zorn straight back, in trouble, unloads just before being hit. Largent almost got it on the deflection, which would have been legal since the rule change about 3 years ago, but it drops incomplete.
Zorn was pressured by Bob Swenson, number 51, coming in, and he did not have time to make the comfortable throw that he would like to. Let's give credit to the special teams coach, Rusty Tillman, for that fake field goal. It was an outstanding call by the Seattle Seahawks. It was also a touchdown had Zorn had another second to throw that ball just then.
Mike Tice, number 86, has come in, evidently carrying the play with him. He lines up as the tight end on the left side. Great percentages for Zorn, 20 of 27, 2nd and 10 from the 12. On the delay, Sherman Smith. Smith battles inside the 10 to about the 8, give him a gain of 4, it'll be 3rd and 6.
Jerry Rome, Jack Patera, Jim Zorn, they have the Denver Bronco defense guessing now. Everybody would have assumed then that he would sprint out and throw for 6.
Now John Sawyer comes in, and Mike Tice goes out, so they're sending the tight ends in as the messengers with the plays from the sidelines, which are called by Jerry Rome from upstairs in the press box and then relayed downstairs.
It's a big play, Bobby.
McCullum wide, Largent in the slot, both on the right side. Zorn has time, but he doesn't have the 1st down. Hughes caught it, but Gradishar was all over it.
Randy Gradishar had it read all the way. That's why he was the past MVP in the AFC, the team leader in tackles and sacks. He is a very good football player. And they're going to go for 3 here. And they will kick this. This won't be a fake here, Bob.
4th and 3 from the 5. And, Jim, as you mentioned during the first half, Efren Herrera has missed only 2 field goals from this distance in his entire career. Inside the 30, he's misfired only twice. And this is his 7th NFL season.
He's had an outstanding career, and he's got many more years to do it with the Seahawks here.
Zorn kneels at the 12. It's a 22-yard attempt. And the Seahawks have a 13-10 lead. Well, they held the ball for an awfully long time. We now have 5 minutes and 53 seconds to play third quarter. The Seahawks by 3. Now let's see what the Broncos can do with this kickoff return. They have not brought one back over 15 yards yet.
Efren's kicking it high up in the air now. It allows the men to come down and cover. There's another high one, short but high.
Takes it at about the 7 or 8. This is Wade Manning, and again a short return, barely across the 20. None of Herrera's kicks have backed Manning to the goal line. But as you say, Jim, they have been high, and the coverage has been dynamite. Next week on NBC's Major League Baseball Game of the Week, perennial rivals clash as the Pirates meet the world champion Phillies, and some parts of the country will see the Yankees go against the Red Sox at Fenway. So check your local listings for the game in your area. That's next Saturday at 2 Eastern Time, right here on NBC Sports. 5:45 on the third quarter clock. Craig Morton finds himself trailing again, 13-10. Moses in motion, comes back the other way now. The handoff to Preston. Preston behind a couple of blockers with a 5-yard gain.
That was a designed play, Bob. Moses didn't make a mistake there.
That time of possession, which was virtually equal at halftime, now drastically in favor of the Seahawks because they held the ball so long after the third quarter kickoff.
Al Davis last week called all the motion and multiple formations and everything of the Broncos tomfoolery. And he still lost the game.
Which might have accounted for his reaction. I was too generous to Preston on the last carry. He got only 4 and not 5. Now here's Parros. And Parros barely back to the 25-yard line, which was the line of scrimmage. So they've got 3rd down and 6 coming up.
Jacob Green is having some day for himself.
.445 to play third quarter. 3rd down 6. Broncos need a first here, or Luke Prestige will again punt from deep in his own territory. Broncos are 2 for 6 so far on 3rd down conversion. Moses in the slot. Watson wide to the right. The backs are split behind Morton. Now Moses in motion. Craig's protection breaks down. He had time initially. Robert Hardy got there. Big sack. And a Denver punt upcoming from deep in their own territory.
Luke has to help him out now. He has to punt it long.
This is the 3rd Seahawks sack of Morton.
Great penetration. Craig held it a little too long. Let's give the defensive backs credit for that one. There was no one to throw to. Luke must punt the ball down the field here. Hopefully he won't punt it right down the pipe. Make the man run for the ball to the sideline.
Will Lewis standing at his own 42-yard line. Prestige will meet this at about the 10. Lewis comes up to grab it at the 46. Lewis into Denver territory at about the Bronco 47. So good field position in a third quarter that has been dominated by the Seahawks. 3:45 remaining in this quarter, and we'll be right back. Well, everybody wants to be a TV star. Luke Prestige's last punt carried 34 yards. Will Lewis's return was good for 6. Prestige's average thus far, there he is, on 3 punts, 41.5.
You can see Luke, good friend, great punter, number 1 in the AFC last year. He knows he just hurt his defensive teammates.
There's Sawyer, the tight end, setting up on the right side. Going with the play play fake. Another first down pass. If he can get it off. On the run, Zorn is still looking. Back over the middle. Hughes broke free. Hughes spinning. And down inside the 35. Boy, David Hughes, the rookie from Boise State, has really been a factor in this third quarter.
They told us yesterday that he's going to play, but Jim Zorn's athletic ability once again proves out.
It's a battle of field goals, and so far it's Tony Franklin 2 and John Smith 1. They've got about 10 minutes to play in the third quarter in that one. Detroit now has the lead over San Diego in the third quarter. Monty Clark's boys are tough this year. They're going after that NFC Central crowd. Cincinnati down by a touchdown against the Jets. Earlier it was 14-0. Dallas with a 13-point lead on the Cardinals, who are without their number one quarterback. Neil Lomax is playing in place of Jim Hart. And now the Bears have assumed the lead at San Francisco, 17-14. Robin Earl catching a 12-yard pass from Vince Evans. Zorn is going up top, but he overthrows him, incomplete. Intended for Largent with Louis Wright on the coverage, and he had him covered perfectly.
Had him covered perfectly. That may be why the ball was overthrown. Broncos went into a four-man line. They went into an unbalance with Don Latimer on the nose, Strong to the tight end. They're trying to change some things up on Jimmy Zorn. You know, we mentioned the punt a while ago. The punt, in effect, is the first defensive play. The punter must help out the defense, and at that time, the defense was put in a hole. The field goal being the last offensive play. And it's very important that everyone does their job. We can see that the Broncos are lined up with the four-man line. It's going to be unbalanced again, probably to the tight end.
Second and 10 at the 33 of Denver. 2 minutes and 49 seconds to play in the third quarter. The Seahawks lead at 13-10. Seahawks have 14 first downs. Denver has 12. Zorn again hits the pass on the run. It's shy of the first down, however, by about 4 yards. Largent makes the catch.
Here we go. Perfect. Look at this. They look like Affirmed and Alyadar. Great athletes. Largent loves to play against Louis Wright. Louis Wright said he may be only 5'10", but he plays 6'4".
And San Diego jumps in front of Detroit. Dan Fouts to Kellen Winslow, 7-yard touchdown pass. They've got 6 minutes to play in the third quarter. Chargers 14, Lions 13. All right, here's a 3rd and 4 from the 27. Zorn's in big trouble. And again, the sack is important not just because it denies them the first down, but because it leaves a Herrera field goal a virtual impossibility.
Totally impossible. Jeff West is coming on the field. A very nice rush, a sack by Bryson Manor.
Manor earlier in the first half had an interception, so it's been a big day for him.
Bryson has started many a game for the Denver Broncos.
Now we'll see Jeff West aiming for the coffin corner. You were telling me about picking out little landmarks, little spots to look for in a stadium like this.
Bob, if he's going to, in fact, punt it out of bounds, he probably, since this is his stadium, has picked out some sort of a sign or something that he's going to punt at to try to take it out within the 12-yard line. But who knows? They may pass from this formation.
When you say some kind of a sign, you mean something out of bounds, something in the stand
that he can look at. There it is.
Well, he found the spot, although it didn't take a very good Seahawk bounce. It could have been down around the 5 had it bounced the other way, but basically he got his job done. They downed it at the 10.
It's an excellent punt. He didn't have to put all of his weight into it. He just pooch punted it, you know, to the advantage of the Seahawks.
Well, I was all set to talk about Bryson Manor and his sack coming out of the commercial, but that bears about as little resemblance to Bryson Manor as anything I've ever seen. So we'll get to that point momentarily. From about the 11-yard line of Denver, they have 1st and 10, a minute 24 to play in the third quarter. The handoff is to Preston, and Preston is back only to the line of scrimmage. And this is a very important series of downs for the Broncos, or they're going to give it right back to Seattle in virtually the same field position that Seattle left just a moment ago.
They have to either do one of two things before this quarter runs out. They have to get Luke a little better punting formation or start opening up the offense.
Before Manor sacked Zorn on the 3rd down play, the Seahawks were looking at, with an incomplete pass, at worst a 44-yard field goal attempt by Efren Herrera. But after the sack, they were pushed completely out of 3-point range. West had to punt. Here's Robert Hardy being helped to the sideline after that last play. Doug Sutherland has come in to replace him wearing number 69. Sutherland, the 12-year veteran from Superior State. Orton on 2nd and 10. Look out. Tuiasosopo after him. The pass incomplete. Intended for Parros. There's a flag down on the play, and maybe Tuiasa Sopo was a little bit over-aggressive in the end zone.
No, I think this is going to be called on the defense downfield for holding Riley Odoms in the pass pattern. I think it's going to be against the Seahawks. Could be a very big break for the offensive team here.
It will go against Seattle.
Yeah, the defender was holding Riley Odoms.
Morton was a split second away from being sacked for the safety by Tuiasa Sopo.
He certainly was.
He did take a lick from him after the release, but evidently a clean one. Here's Fred Silva.
Defense, illegal contact, number 55. First down.
Michael Jackson has it called on him. There you see him, number 55. Left side linebacker in his third NFL season. So it's 1st and 10 from the 15 as they pitch it back to Preston. Preston turns it inside for a gain of 5 before Keith Simpson stops him, number 42. Fred Anderson was there to help him, 63.
Michael Jackson took the blocker out. He blitzed.
That might very well be the last play of the third quarter, depending upon how quickly the Broncos can get this snap off. We're down to 22 seconds. Well, they'll get at least one more play off. 2nd down and 5 from the 20. Parros, the single setback. They send Preston out to the right side. They give the ball to Parros. Parros a couple of yards and a heavy whack for his trouble.
Michael Jackson extremely upset. Feels he was held.
And that was the last play of quarter number 3. Let's watch it.
The Seahawks were calling draw all the way. Their defensive game plan has been truly outstanding today against the Denver Bronco offense.
Going to be a big 3rd down play coming up for the Broncos as we start the 4th quarter. At the end of 3, it's 13-10 Seahawks. Back after these messages from your local station. Well, a 13-10 affair is enough to put this youngster to sleep. And those eyes just popped back open. He was taking a little nap, but just during the timeout. He's a very astute football fan. He snoozes during the timeouts, and then when the snap is ready, he comes back. It's 3rd down and a long 3. Morton's pass deflected, and they'll have to punt.
We've mentioned it before. He has a lot of passes deflected. Very, very good coverage by the Seahawks defensive backs. He didn't have anywhere to throw that ball.
I believe that the replay will show Manu Tuiasa Sopo as the guy who hit the pass.
You know, I haven't said Tuiasa Sopo today, so I'm going to say Tuiasa Sopo.
Well, let's watch him. Where is he? Come on, Manu.
Right over the middle.
No, actually, I think it was Sutherland.
Doug Sutherland.
Sutherland, number 69, appeared to be the guy. Now here's Prestige's kick, which is long but not especially high. Will Lewis calls for a fair catch at the Seattle 30, so Prestige got them out of trouble.
He got him out of trouble. A good punt, covered by their number 1 draft choice, Dennis Smith out of USC.
48-yard punt, no return. Back at the Kingdome, Bob Costas along with Jim Turner early in the 4th quarter. 10-10 tie at halftime. Stats virtually equal. Second half, though, dominated by the Seahawks.
Seahawks have a 10-minute advantage on the control of the clock. The Denver Broncos have been ineffective offensively.
Now the Seahawks will start at their own 30-yard line, trying to add to a 13-10 advantage. Here's Largent in motion. Zorn with the handoff to Hughes. And Hughes gets 4 yards on the carry. And I'm sure the films will show nothing that will work to the disadvantage of David Hughes when they look at them tomorrow.
A lot of people were saying, who? David Hughes out of Boise State? I think they like what they see now.
2nd down and 6 yards to go. Ball just shy of the 35-yard line. They got Largent lined up in a wing. Here he comes in motion. They faked the give to Hughes. They gave it to Smith. And Denver was not in the least bit fooled. Bryson Manor makes the tackle, number 66. They lose a yard. Detroit now in front of San Diego in the fourth quarter, but they have virtually the entire period to play. 14:56 remaining in that game. Billy Sims scores from 12 yards out. Detroit takes a 6-point lead, 20-14, and Bryson Manor, or is it Reuben Carter?
Reuben Carter.
Reuben Carter
field
hobbles off.
Reuben Carter, one of the best nose tackles in all of football. Always 2 or 3 men trying to control him.
Don Latimer, number 72, comes in to replace him. Third down play, and Zorn sacked again.
Tremendous rush there. Barney Chavis, Rulon Jones, Greg Boyd.
That's Denver's 5th sack of Zorn, matching their total against Plunkett of a week ago. Watch Barney Chavis, who was awarded the defensive game ball in the Raider victory.
Everybody was in there.
Manning fielding the punt by Jeff West at the Denver 30. Wade Manning down at the 33. Boy, what special teams play.
Bob, they remind me of when Rusty Tillman, the Seahawks special teams coach, played for the Washington Redskins. They're aggressive, they're fast, they're covering very well, they're making tremendous tackles. I like what I see.
Denver has had the ball only twice in the second half, and they have recorded just 1 second-half first down. Craig Morton has thrown only 1 time since halftime. We have 13:07 to play in the game. The Seahawks lead it by 3. Morton, a first down pass, which is complete. Grabbed by Dave Preston, who's immediately hit by Kerry Justin. Flag down on the play in the Denver backfield.
Holding on the Seahawks. We talked about it before. It's a killer. Holding on the Broncos. It's a killer. They're trying to move upfield. Every time they seem to want to get something going, back they go.
Offense, number 62. Holding, grabbing the shirt.
Holding on, Tommy Glassick.
So it becomes 1st and 20 for Denver. Denver's been penalized 3 times for 30 yards. Seattle has had 4 flags thrown against them, and it's cost them 40 yards in total. Now it's back at the 23 of the Broncos. On first down, the give is to Tony Reed. And Reed gets some of that lost yardage back to the 30-yard line, a pickup of 7. Now let's get an update on the Jets and Bengals from Bryant Gumbel in New York.
Well, the Jets and Bengals. Jets are now out in front 20-10, Bob, but this action from Veterans Stadium in Philadelphia, Perry Harrington from 7 yards out. Eagles go in front of the Patriots 13-3 in the 3rd. Bob?
Okay, thanks, Bryant. It is 2nd down and 13 coming up. The ball is squarely at the 30-yard line. 12 minutes and 20 seconds to play in the ball game. Moses wide to the right, and Watson on the left side. Morton with plenty of time to fire one for Watson, which is broken up. Don Harris came over and swatted it away.
That's an outstanding play by number 44, Don Harris. Once again, it could have been picked off. I'm wondering if the Denver Bronco offensive coaches had so much respect for Kenny Easley that they've decided not to attack him. I really don't worry about whether the man is 3 times All-American, 4 times All-Pac-10, or what. He's still a rookie. I have Riley Odoms. I have a multiple offense. I think I would challenge him at this point.
You saw Steve DeBerg, number 17, the former starting quarterback for the 49ers, standing alongside Dan Reeves, charting the plays on the Denver sideline. Well, here we go on 3rd and 13 from the 30. Morton out of the shotgun. Here's a wobbler. That's batted away by the very man you were talking about, Kenny Easley.
Yes, sir. He's shown us he's every bit as good as everybody says he is. Seahawks #1 draft choice this year, the 3rd player taken in the entire draft.
And the Seahawk domination of the second half continues. Will Lewis drops back to about his own 35. Luke Prestige to punt.
That's the 3rd pass today that's been tipped by Craig Morton, by the Seahawks on Craig Morton.
12:06 to play in the 4th. Prestige with a low spiral that Will Lewis takes at the 32. Lewis stutter steps across the 40-yard line and is driven out of bounds at the 43 of Seattle.
A low punt, easy to return. Your coverage men don't have enough time to get down.
38-yard punt by this man, Prestige. 11-yard return by Will Lewis. Well, Dan Reeves can mull these facts over. The Broncos have had the ball 3 times in the second half. They've made just 1 first down, and that was on a penalty, and their deepest penetration since halftime is their own 30-yard line. Seattle with the ball and the 3-point lead at their 43, 11:55 remaining in the game. Zorn to the air on first down again, and evidently Largent and Zorn were not synced up on what the pattern should be. The pass went one way, Largent went another.
Barney Chavis had great penetration at that time, and I think he might have thrown Jimmy off a little bit. Barney's complaining that he was being held. Of course, all defensive linemen complain after being held by the offensive lineman.
You look at the 2 reserve quarterbacks. Sam Atkins is number 12, and Dave Craig is number 17. And they have more hands on their time, more time on their hands, or hands on their time. Take it, I don't care. They have more time on their hands than the average player. Zorn not only the number 1 guy, but he's been very durable through the years for these Seahawks. Here's the handoff to Sherman Smith. The hole opens up, and Smith drags tacklers for first down yardage and into Denver territory, an 11-yard pickup.
Looks to me like Sherman's off of his injury from last year in very fine shape. They said last week he was a little tentative. Maybe that was because his offensive line wasn't opening any holes. It's just a quick lag draw. He's running very strong, met by number 53, Randy Gradishar. Barney Chavis comes up to put the finishing touches on, but he does look good.
You don't often run through Randy Gradishar.
No, you don't. You absolutely don't.
They spotted at the 46 of the Broncos. Clock moving, 11:10 showing. Zorn pumps once and then swings it out, and the catch is made by David Hughes. The rookie continues to excel. He's out at the 39-yard line after a gain of 7.
And once again, we'll say it. A running back isolated on a linebacker. He does have good hands. They talked about his blocking all through college. I'm impressed with his hands today.
The Seattle running game has been only an occasional thing, a surprise tactic as much as anything else. The passing game has been their bread and butter.
I think that's mainly to keep the Broncos off guard.
They line Largent up as a back, and now he swings out. They've got Smith on the wing, and the give is to Hughes, who runs right into a stone wall headed by Don Latimer, and they'll have 3rd and 3 coming up.
Some of the Broncos have their dander up. Rulon Jones has been arguing in there quite a bit. Greg Boyd, I think they're feeling a little embarrassed after their great victory last weekend over the world champion Oakland Raiders. They do not want to lose this game.
Ten and a half minutes remaining in the ball game. McCullum on the left side, Largent on the right. Jodat and Smith are set in the eye. Jodat is the up man. Zorn sprinting out to his right, throwing on the run, and the catch can't be made by Largent, who's upset with himself. It was not an easy catch, but Largent has held on to balls similar to that in the past. He considers it a catchable ball for him.
Would have been an outstanding catch. A very difficult throw. Zorn rolling out to the side, trying to throw the ball back. It would have been an outstanding catch.
So enter Jeff West.
Now Billy Thompson's back in the game here. In the pressure situations, they're going to go with the old veteran Billy Thompson. 13th year. Billy was Rookie of the Year years back. He won the return titles. I don't even know how long ago.
They had been dropping Wade Manning back. As we mentioned earlier, Rick Upchurch is in street clothes on the sidelines. But now in this 4th quarter, they turn the responsibility over to Thompson, at least in this situation. And look what Jeff West did. He put it out of bounds at the 2.
Bobby punted the ball high in the air, hoping that his coverage men would get down. They did. It took a Seattle bounce, went out of bounds on the 2-yard line, and once again, Denver is against the wall.
37-yard punt out at the 2. Well, Jeff West is the man of the hour right now in Seattle. The Broncos are backed up to their 2-yard line with 10:09 to play in the game. And they have generated absolutely no offense at all in the second half. Rick Parros manages to drag Michael Jackson to about the 7, so it's a pickup of 5.
He didn't have anywhere to go but to the outside. The Seattle Seahawks defense is playing quite well.
They're going to mark it just shy of the 8, so let's give them a gain of 6 and call it 2nd down and 4.
Don Anderson was telling us yesterday about the new aggressiveness, the new attitude on the Seahawks defense, and we've seen it all day today.
Danny Reeves. And that pensive look on his face comes with good reason. Harrow slipped through. Somehow there wasn't any kind of hole there, and he just slithered through and has first down yardage. Only the second first down for the Broncos in the second half.
Well, from the end zone, we'll see it's just a straight dive. Oh, he goes right under him.
Went right under Robert Hardy.
He sure did.
Harrow has carried 11 times unofficially for 50 yards.
One would think they would open up and start passing downfield pretty soon.
Well, I guess they wanted some breathing room before they did that.
Yeah.
They give it to Dave Preston, and Preston, who had 87 yards to lead the Broncos a week ago against Oakland, is across the 15-yard line. And they'll spot it at the 18, so we'll give him a gain of 5.
Bob, Dave Preston is their money back. He does everything so well for him. He won't break one for 80, 90 yards, but he'll end up with 5, 6, 7 catches, 40 to 50 yards rushing every game. He's the type of player that every team would love to have in their backfield.
Rick Harrow goes out. Larry Canada carrying the play with him comes in, number 35. Here's the pitch back to Dave Preston. Canada blocking in front of him. Preston spinning across the 20-yard line, but shy of the first. And we've got a 3rd and short situation coming up for the Broncos.
Well, Jacob Green made the first hit once again. We've been talking about him all day at defense. He slowed that one down and tripped him up.
Number 85, Ron Egloff, has come in as an extra tight end, and you saw Haven Moses, the veteran, 25, come to the sideline. Fred Anderson out along the front 4, and Doug Sutherland in on 3rd and 1 for the Seahawks defense. Just about everybody in tight. Egloff in motion. They pitch it to Parros. Parros has the first down. He turns the corner. Rick Parros with a big gain out near the 40-yard line. A first down for Denver.
That was an interesting call, putting the tight end Ron Egloff in motion and then running a play wide like that. Usually your wide plays on a short yardage play, you have the opportunity to lose yardage and then have to turn around and punt again.
Rick Parros got 17 on that last carry. And there are his stats for the entire day. 13 carries for 69 yards. Watson wide to the right. Moses is wide to the left. Morton with a first down pass. Tosses it over the middle. And the catch is made by Parros. And he's immediately wrapped up by Terry Beeson.
Now they're coming back offensively to their game plan, throwing under, working on the Seahawk linebackers, who they do not think are good pass coverage gentlemen. Throwing under to Parros. If he sticks with his game plan, it may end up, we may have an overtime game here.
It's a very diplomatic way of putting it. They're not good pass coverage gentlemen.
Well, linebackers, you don't want to get on their bad side, I'll tell you.
6:25 remaining in the game. Seahawks 13, Broncos 10. Morton looking and pumping and connecting with Riley Odoms, who gets back on his feet and fumbles the ball. Now let's see if they say it was down. They'll say it was down at the 41-yard line of Seattle.
True to form, spread everybody out. Riley Odoms coming over the middle, working on Michael Jackson. Very good catch by Riley. The ball just bounces off on this hard turf.
So Riley Odoms, who had a touchdown catch in the first half, picks up 17 on that play. Clock is moving. 5:45 remaining. Hold everything. Hold everything. Jacob Green and Claudie Miner got into it there for a moment. It's going to go against Denver.
That hurts. It hurts.
Offense, number 71. False start. First down.
Well, Claudie was ready to get back into passing protection.
The last 2 times that Denver managed to cross midfield, they scored. Once a touchdown, once a field goal. Morton, with all kinds of time, picks somebody out, Craig. He does, finally. The catch is made by Preston out of the backfield.
He's unconscious in the backfield. He fears nothing. He'll stand there with everybody running in on him. You have to admire Craig Morton. He knew that they were coming in on him.
Boy, would you like to count up the little bumps and bruises as well as the major injuries absorbed by that man over 17 seasons in the NFL. Preston, amidst 3 defenders, makes the catch. It's 2nd and 10 now as they got back to the original line of scrimmage before the penalty, back to the 40-yard line. They give it to Tony Reed, who stumbled and got about 3 on the play. Now a big 3rd down comes up. We're down to 4 minutes and 40 seconds remaining in this game, a game that has moved by very quickly. This game is only about 2.5 hours old in terms of elapsed time. Third and 7 from the 37.
It would be interesting if they would make a decision here to kick a long field goal or not. Fred Steinfurt obviously can kick them long.
Steve Watson wide left, Haven Moses wide right. They put Riley Odoms, the tight end, in a slot right, and from out of the shotgun, they need 7 yards. Morton steps up, fires it. He threaded the needle, and the catch is made by Preston just about at the stick. I think it's a first down.
If it's not a first down, they're in very good field goal range now.
But there's a penalty marker down, and evidently it's against the Broncos. Well, that was a great throw by Morton.
Once again, Dave Preston showed his versatility.
The penalty notwithstanding. Fine throw by Morton, fine catch by Preston, but here Fred Silva will nullify it all.
Number 71, holding.
Oh, Claudia Minor is nailed again. First illegal procedure, this time for holding. 3rd and 17. They're pushed back to the 47-yard line of Seattle with 4:08 left.
Well, now they have to make 15 yards to bring it back into field goal range, whereas before they were in.
Moses to the left side, Watson to the right. The tight end, Odoms, lines up on the left, then shifts out into a slot. They put Preston on a wing and Reed on the right side in a wing situation. Morton needs 17. He wants it all. He fires deep down the right side. Oh, what a catch, but then it's dropped. Incomplete, almost. One of your all-time great catches by Steve Watson. Flag on the play as well.
Steve Watson does not do that very often. They call him the Blade. In Denver 2 years ago, he didn't drop a pass during the entire season, which includes practice. That should have been a touchdown. Perfect pass by Craig Morton. And the punting team comes onto the field. So they not only lose a touchdown, they lose the opportunity for a field goal to tie it up, and now they have to punt the ball away.
Had Watson caught it, obviously it would not have counted. Kelvin Clark was holding on the play. So the Seahawks turn the penalty down, and they'll get the ball back. Luke Prestige to punt. Exactly 4 minutes on the 4th quarter clock. We were tied at 10 at halftime.
That was such an important series for the Broncos.
Aiming for the coffin corner. Let's see what Prestige can get done here. Will Lewis lets it bounce, and it goes out of bounds inside the 5. Down at about the 3-yard line.
An outstanding punt by Luke Prestige.
Now Prestige is agonizing, and there's a penalty marker down. Prestige really got the job done, but let's see what Fred Silva and company have to say. The only scoring in the second half is an Efren Herrera field goal.
You notice how he just punched the ball? They work on this day in and day out. Against the Broncos. Takes Seattle out of the hole, gives them a little more breathing room.
Fred Silva will make it official.
I can tell you, Bob,
this off.
For sure tomorrow when the Broncos are watching films, Dan Reeves is going to let some people know how they played.
We've seen some fine coffin corner kicking today from both Prestige and West.
We sure have. And they work on it, believe me.
After the ball was out of bounds, we have a dead ball, personal foul, face mask, number 59, first down.
Inexcusable.
Mark Merrill, the third-year man out of Minnesota, nullifies a good portion of Prestige's effort as he's called for the face mask after the whistle. Boy, that hurts.
Oh.
All right, so the ball is out to the 18-yard line with 3:53 left. Hughes and Smith are the running backs. Here's Largent shifting out of the slot and going in motion left. They give the ball to Hughes, and the rookie rambles through the hole for about 8 yards. And Hughes goes hobbling off. What a great second half he's had.
They've got to be very pleased with his performance today. If you're going to attack the Denver Broncos 34 defense, you have to do just what they did then. Run right straight at him.
You saw Hughes' rushing stats, 8 for 21, but he's been most valuable as a pass receiver. He's caught 5 passes, including on the 4th down play out of field goal formation off the fake when Zorn hit him for the big first down.
See what they're doing now, Bob. They're eating the clock up. They're driving straight at. The one weakness of the 34 defense with the 4 linebackers back there is that you can run straight at them. And they're doing this by design. They're not going to let Jimmy throw up a cheap interception here. Now Barney Chavis is coming in. Let's see. Let's see who comes out. They may go to a 4-man front. No, they're going to stay with the 34 defense. Greg Boyd's coming out.
Boy, Monty Clark has Don Coryell sweating out in San Diego.
Mercy.
Eddie Murray just hit a 30-yard field goal to give them the lead again. 4 minutes and 32 seconds left in that game. 23-21 Lions. We're down to 2:25 to play in this game, if you can believe that. Seahawks nursing a 3-point lead. They give the ball to Jodat, who wraps both arms around it, trying to protect it. Gets good yardage. Out to the 35. We'll have the 2-minute warning before the next play I was about to say, but the Broncos elect to use one of their timeouts first, and that stops the clock with 2:16 left.
Jack Patero likes Jim Jodat, the veteran they acquired from the Rams. They like him a great deal.
It's 2nd down and 4 upcoming for the Seahawks when we return to the Kingdome. Well, Jodat got him 6 yards on the 1st down carry, leaving them with 2nd and 4 at the 35-yard line. 2:16 left. Denver has 2 timeouts of their own remaining, plus the 2-minute warning to stop the clock. But eventually, they got to stop Seattle, which they haven't done so far.
Well, some people might question that timeout, but I think Joe Collier wanted to make sure that everybody was on the right track on defense.
Zorn on a long count. Jodat again. Couple of yards, maybe 3. Let's say 2 yards, and leave them with 3rd and 2.
And the clock is running.
Well, the 2-minute warning will stop it in 3 seconds. And we reach the 2-minute warning with the situation. 13-10, Seattle with the lead. They have the ball, 3rd down and 2. Denver has 2 timeouts remaining. We'll use this opportunity to get some more business out of the way and return to the Kingdome in a minute. The Seahawk fans have waited since the last game of the 1979 season for a home victory from their Seattle ball club. They are 2 minutes away from it now. Here we go on 3rd and 2. Dennis Boyd, number 68, has checked into the game and reported to the officials. He's the guy who on the surprise play caught the touchdown pass in the first half. They keep it on the ground, and Sherman Smith got the first down.
The Broncos were able to shut the Raiders rushing down last week. Today they're having a tremendous amount of trouble with it. Let's give credit to that offensive line once again. This whole week in Seattle, their offensive line has been just taking gas.
Well, Denver has Baltimore at home next week.
At Mile High.
Seattle needing a big boost because they got to go into Oakland and play the Raiders next week. Seattle is 1 minute and 55 seconds away from that kind of momentum and away from erasing a bit of the memory of a week ago when they blew a 21-0 lead at Cincinnati. Denver has just 1 timeout left, having used one after that last carry by Smith, stopping the clock at 1:55. Seattle has all 3 of their timeouts remaining, which at this point doesn't make any difference, but might before all is said and done.
Bob, I get the feeling that all the Seattle fans are sitting here waiting for something to happen so that they'll lose the game. I know they want to win this game. They've had so much bad luck. Look at them. They're trying to cheer the team up, cheer them on. But it just, you get the feeling that they're waiting for a mistake to happen and they're going to lose the game.
Well, we have made that point, which you see on the screen now, many times today. The last team they beat here in the Kingdome was the Denver Broncos. The last game of Jim Turner's career, oddly enough, back in December of 1979, 28-23, as Zorn hit Largent with a late scoring pass.
Well, the Seattle fans have certainly waited a long time, and they are very, very good fans.
1st and 10 from the 40. Denver can stop the clock only once more. Zorn gives it to Jodat. Jodat gets a couple of yards.
You see, Bob, with Denver only having one timeout left, he's just trying to milk the clock down. He's just going to milk the clock.
Well, a week ago, I was in Pittsburgh, Jim, where the Steelers were trying to run out the clock, and Frank Manueliuna came through, belted Terry Bradshaw, who coughed the ball up. Thomas Howard picked it up, went 72 yards for a shocking touchdown, and Kansas City pulled out a game that was all but lost. So Denver might be thinking about that kind of thing.
I'm sure they are, and it does prove that the game is never over until the gun goes off.
2nd down and 8 from the 42. You saw the time remaining at the top of your screen. Sherman Smith wants to protect that ball. Denver would like to shove him out of bounds. Smith wisely turned it back in and kept the clock moving. Now Randy Gradishar turns toward the official and asks for a timeout.
I'm wondering if very many people saw the excellent move that Sherman Smith did then. He wisely did not go out of bounds. He forced Denver just then to take their last timeout of the game.
We're coming back to the Kingdome right after this. Well, Sherman Smith stayed in bounds on that last carry when he was close to the sidelines, forcing Denver to use their last timeout. So here's the situation. 3rd and 6. Ball at the 44-yard line of Seattle. 1:04 remaining. Denver can't stop the clock anymore. Dennis Boyd again has come into the game. Number 68. He lines up on the right side. Everybody is tight. They need 6 yards, but they've also got to think about not fumbling. If they punt from here, they can really back Denver up, give them bad field position. Sherman Smith.
Oh, my.
He got the first down.
He got the first down. They didn't expect that extra effort. Listen to the fans here in the Kingdome.
I'll tell you what, Jim. Well, let's just listen to the crowd for a while, and we'll make this point later.
They smell victory.
Rejoicing up in the stands, but they are jubilant along the Seahawks sideline. They're whooping it up there as well.
Well, the fans in the Northwest, they have a love affair with their Seahawks.
They opened a pretty good hole for it, but the last couple of yards, Smith got alone.
Totally alone, all on desire. And the look at the Broncos sideline is not very pleasant at this moment.
This will be the game's last play. Zorn falls on the ball.
No time to start a fight.
Well, we've got some hard feelings along the front walls of both clubs, but time will run out on the Broncos. 1 second, the gun, and it's over.
Isn't it ironic that the last time the Seahawks won in this stadium, 1979, against these very same Denver Broncos?
An Efren Herrera field goal in the 3rd quarter, all the scoring there was in the 2nd half. The final, 13-10, Seattle wins it. Now stay tuned for the Budweiser NFL report for all the latest scores and highlights in today's games right after these messages from your local stations.
A promotion.